What's up, y'all? Doing a grenade video. This one's gonna be a little long because we're gonna go over both the what kind of the purposes of each grenade is, along with a few kind of advanced techniques, mechanics with the grenades. So let's get right into it. First grenade, decoy grenade. Decoy grenade is utterly useless for the most part. It's the biggest benefit it has is that when it's flying through the air, it looks like a flashbang. So you might kind of get some people to think that a flashbang is coming, and you can peek out and get a free kill. It does shoot whatever your primary gun is. So if I had an op and I throw decoy, it's gonna sound like an op is firing. It does work for secondaries. It'll be your secondary pistol. And that's about it. Next grenade is, we're gonna do high explosive HE grenade. HE grenade is a fuse grenade. It explodes after a specific amount of time, every time, and it doesn't matter if it's bounced off the ground or what. It explodes after a specific amount of time. The way you want to use it is you want to just get direct damage. If there's a person in a spot trying to flush them out, it's a good way to just get some damage on them. Armor does affect the HE grenade, so if a person is unarmored and you get a direct hit, I believe you can kill them in one hit with it. But if they are wearing armor, then you're not going to get a one-hit kill. The idea is that you kind of toss it into a choke point when people are rushing, and it'll do some good damage. Next up, we have Incendiary. Incendiary and Molotov, they function exactly the same, but they do have I think they have a little difference. But it's essentially, it is a area of denial. It puts fire on the ground, the fire hurts to walk through, and it's very scary when you're rushing into a site and all of a sudden there's fire on the ground. Like, what do? Everybody just panics. You want to use it for both a choke point, stopping a rush coming in, and you also want to use it for flushing people out of a spot too. It'll always bounce off all surfaces until it hits a ground object, so I think barrels and stuff, it'll explode on those as well. It does have a counter though. If you see a bunch of fire, you toss a smoke grenade into it, it's going to extinguish it immediately. This is very important when team is saying, hey, let's rush B, no stop. And all of a sudden you get about here and there's a frickin' Molotov right there. All you do is just toss, first guy in, tosses a smoke down there, and you're in the site. It's better to rush through the smoke and try to catch the CTs off guard than it is to be like, oh god, it's a smoke, everybody stop. So, next grenade is Flashbang. Flashbang is second most useful grenade in my opinion. Flashbang does just that. It flashes and it bangs. View model, this is important. Okay, we are max. So, how do you want to use it? Well, it's a fuse grenade as well. It'll explode after a certain amount of time. The whole trick of it is timing it to be right where you want it. So it depends where it flashes on your opponent's screen. So closer to the middle, you'll have a bigger impact, and also how close the grenade is to the player when it goes up. So if we're standing right on it, looking at 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, let's say 3.5 to 4 seconds if it's right on top of us. Where if it explodes, we're looking at it on the other side of the site. 1 1000, 2 1000, 2.5-ish seconds. And then if it's like off to a 45 degree, 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, that one was a little longer. We're a little close to it. So you want to try to get it centered to right where they're looking and closer to them. So the way I go about this is we have, if I'm retaking a site on B right here, and I know there's enemies in here, I know they're going to be looking pretty much one of two directions. They're going to be looking this direction, or they're going to be looking towards tunnels here. So I want to do a flash where it's going to flash them looking at the direction that I'm coming at. It's also not going to flash me, and it's going to be as close to them as much as possible. Now if I just load this thing up and just chuck it as hard as I can, you know, that's going to be pretty high above the site. It might be even past a few of them. You know, that's not a good flash. We don't want a flash like that. We want a flash like this, where it's high above, right where I'm peeking. That's actually probably not the best spot. We'll do one like this. This would be perfect if we could time this properly, because this flashes right at the spot that I'm peeking from. They're going to see it coming, so they're probably going to look away right at the last second, and I want to peek in right at that last second, try to get a free kill. So this is essentially how you want to use a flash. You want to use it right where they're looking, and if you can get it close to them, the better. But you know, usually you can only have it one of two different ways. All right, so last grenade is our smoke grenade. I already bought one. Smoke grenade is the most important grenade in for utility that I think exists in this game. What it does, it creates a wall. It creates a visual wall. You can run through this wall, and you can shoot through this wall. But this wall has an insanely great psychological effect on people, where it essentially makes an impassable wall that like nobody can deal with. You know, if I got a smoke at door and smoke at window on B site, like nobody's coming in here. If we got one at as well at tunnels, like this site is completely isolated. The 3 points of entry, you can't look through, and you know nobody's going to be like just blindly shooting through, because it's just going to give away your position. So it's really great, and another big part of it is that you kind of want to get clever with utilizing it too. You can do things where, say I'm you know, I'm trying to take a B site here. If we have a smoke right here, this is actually pretty good, because this isolates window and door from tunnel. Now I can deal with people that are still on site, and I can work around at my own pace instead of being exposed by players up there. So you can really utilize it in a lot of great different ways. Another thing I want to touch on is running through it. So if I walk into this smoke and stop the second I can't see anything, okay, I can't see anything, look down and I shoot. This is right where I'm standing. This is where I was standing in here. I want to emphasize this, so I'm going to do it again. Smoke down, walk into the smoke, I can't see anything. Going straight down, that marks the spot I was looking at. If somebody's standing right there, they can't, and I'm standing right here, that player in the smoke can't see me, but I can see them. What I'm getting at is, when somebody comes through a smoke, if you're looking at the smoke, you're going to see them almost a full second before they see you. There's a serious advantage to the players looking at a smoke and somebody going through the smoke. Now, that being said, pushing through smokes is really smart thing to do, because oftentimes people throw down a smoke and they just, you know, that's walled off. I don't need to watch that anymore. Nobody pushes through that. No, that's kind of, you really need to keep one eye on your smokes, because the smart players know when to push through. They're listening to footsteps. People are running away. There's fire shooting at somebody else. I'm going to push through a smoke right here, especially at like middle right here. I'm going to be kind of waiting for, you know, these guys to be thinking that it's safe, and that's what I'm going to push through. So that's the purposes of the grenades. Really, buying wise, every round you want to have a smoke, sometimes maybe 2 flashbangs and an HE. You can mix it up with an incendiary in there if you want. Incendiary I only buy if we're up a couple rounds and I got some extra money. The absolute must-haves are smoke and at least 2 flashbangs, in my opinion. You can do the 600, 800, 1000 buy that I do all the time, where it's just smoke, HE, and 2 flashbangs every round. That's $1,000 to commit, but you get a lot out of that. All right, let's go over the mechanics of throwing the grenade. So there's 3 different inputs you have for throwing the grenade. You have just a left mouse button, you have left and right mouse button, and you have just right mouse button. Now if we look at this, left mouse button goes the furthest, obviously. Right mouse button kind of cuts it in half, or middle, right and left cuts it in half, and then left mouse button does that even more. So once more, left and right, and right. I like to think of this as kind of a graph. Like this is your entire range right here of where you can throw the grenade just from standing still and looking at the same spot. Like that is a huge amount of difference you can have in controls. And if you look at my left hand now, I'm just switching between holding one mouse button and going back and forth to the other. So you can actually extend, or you can reduce your maximum throws or your minimum throws by throwing it in the middle. So it's an incredible amount of range that you can get with these grenades, and learning how to essentially put a grenade where you want it is a very important thing to do in this game. So what's the point? What are we getting at here? Let's do some examples. So example time. I love the right mouse underhand toss. It's really good for dropping a smoke pretty close to you, and it's really good for like an underhanded, just straight up toss. So if I'm playing this position on counter terrace, I'm watching Cat from here. If I'm hearing some footsteps, I can do something like this. Just a little underhand tossed flashbang. They're gonna see the flashbang right here, and then it flashes. Whereas if I just left click it, just toss it up there, you know, they have a shit ton more time to react to that flash, and it's not gonna do a whole lot if they're standing right here. Whereas just a little underhand toss, I love that little guy. It's so great. Your throwing also is affected by your momentum too. So if I'm standing still and toss compared to running, it goes a lot further. And then once more, if I jump, it's going to go super far. Now remember that some of these grenades have a fuse, so they're gonna go off whenever. But if we can figure out a way to increase the distance, even on a fuse grenade like an HE, like if I'm standing here and I want to get it between those doors, it's a bit tough. If I jump a toss, it's going to go too far up. But what I can do is, because when we run and jump, there's so much momentum on it that if we aim down, we can actually reduce the lob. So let's see if I got it. Yeah. So that is an HE grenade into the middle of the site from CT spawn. Like that is an insane amount of distance. Let's see if we can do it again. Hit the door. So I love that kind of a throw where we're aiming more towards the ground because we're gonna jump and throw, and it really just laser beams it like halfway across the map. It's really good for long range smokes, really good for flashbangs where you don't want to lob it way over. It's very useful. So these techniques where you're utilizing your momentum, you're utilizing the different mouse inputs to throw your grenades, is really going to make a big difference. Like, believe me, it really does. And the way to practice that is simply just go into a map like this, and pick a spot wherever you are and say, I want to get a grenade to that spot, and I'm going to keep doing it until I get it. What do I need to do to get a grenade where I want it to be? And yeah, and then you just improvise. So that's all I got. I really hope this helps. Good luck, guys.